The number one thing I get asked is, what do I think about PTSD? What do I think about depression? What do I think about anxiety? I get a lot of questions about PTSD, especially because I'm in the military, or I was in the military. I'm a veteran military police officer for almost 8 years. I'm in the inactive ready reserve now. But I get the PTSD question so much because it's what plagues the veterans. It's what plagues the military status of this world. And when I get asked that question, people will directly ask me, do you have PTSD? And I always reply with no. PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder. And the reason that I don't believe in buying into that label of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is because for the longest time I found myself sitting in a place of constant reflection on bad things that I had never processed before. So in my own personal experiences working with the detainees at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, I had never previous to that experience really experienced looking into the eyes of somebody who either genuinely hated you or at least had to act like they did so that they didn't have repercussions from the people that they lived with every single day. Some of the things that people would say, some of the ways that they would act, it's not something that I'd ever experienced in my life before. So my brain didn't know how to process that. And that's essentially what post-traumatic stress disorder is. It's going through something in your life that your mind is saying, okay, we've never done this before. We've never been able to process this. In some way, it's traumatic to you. Your body reacted in some type of way, and now you're kind of in a full-on panic inside and out. You're having chemical reactions. You're having different things. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a trained anything like that. But the way that I look at this now is very simply, I take life and I process everything before I act on anything at all. So, like, do I get nightmares about my time in Guantanamo Bay? Absolutely I do. Do I have times that I think back on that are not pleasant and they bring up anxiety and bad feelings? And absolutely I do. But I allow myself the time in that moment to process whatever is going on. And then next time it's not so bad. So when people ask me, do you have PTSD? No, I don't, because I don't have post-traumatic stress disorder. It's not a disorder. I don't have a lifelong a life sentence of sorts, is how I always say it. I think that the organizations like the VA and stuff like that, I think with them being so tied directly into like government and things like that, the pharmaceutical business is exactly that. It's a business. So pharmaceutical reps will go into the VA clinics and sell them this new antidepressant, this new anxiety medication, this new whatever. So then, for the VA to get funding, what do? They have to go to the government and say, okay, we have this many people in need. Here's how we're going to budget it. We'll sell this product. The insurances will cover this. So therefore, this is the necessity to have our VA clinic in our building. That's why a lot of the times in this country, it's no secret that the VAs are so wrapped up and it's so poorly managed, because there's a lot of people, I truly feel, that are sitting there and they diagnose things that they don't necessarily believe in. That's why I think it's so quick. Well, here, take a Motrin or take this and then you'll feel better. But you didn't heal anything. You didn't heal the individual that's suffering. And I don't even really like to use the term suffering. While you're in it, it's definitely suffering. It's suffering for the individual that is going through all this. When you look at it in a totally different realm, when you look at it as it's not a life sentence of any sort, it's just life, okay? So you now have events in your life, whether it be combat deployments, whether it be something that happened to you as a child, whether it be a time in a corrections facility, whether it be anything, losing a child, losing a parent. Processing that is no different. It's something traumatic that's happened in your life. The scale of how traumatic and how one person would react compared to another person is irrelevant, because if we're really talking about healing and we're really talking about diving in and fixing this issue, then we need to stop trying to feed individuals medications. We need to stop trying to feed people programs that are cookie cutter. Put 90 people in the same program. One person doesn't work the same as one other person. So why would one person work the same as 100 people? Okay, that's where it really, my passion for this comes in. So when people contact me and they're like, I suffer from severe depression. Now, depression is a real thing. Depression is a very physical thing. I in no way doubt that at all. But I think one of the mass things that are forgotten when it comes to depression, PTSD, when it comes to anxiety, the quick fix is, well, here, take this, and if you don't feel better in 2 weeks, give us a call back and we'll up the dosage. We'll sell you more dosage. Instead of taking a time and doing something that I think is very, very common knowledge, and this is where I'm going to lose a lot of people, because I really do think that it's common sense, but I've been in those situations where I've chosen, I feel bad now, I don't feel like doing anything now, but a lot of that comes from the whole realm of, well, I feel like this because I have depression. This is just how I feel now until my medication gets tweaked, and then maybe I'll feel a little better. But then when things in life happen, I'm going to be down in the slumps because I suffer from depression, or I suffer from PTSD, or I suffer from anxiety. That's why the Shatter It movement was created, because I believe that in those moments when you start to feel down, it's okay to go, I understand that this is how I react. This is how my body is. This is what I do. It's very real. It's very physical. It's very, very important to me. It's very, very real. It is. I'm not doubting that at all. But if you look at that and you spend 0% of the time fighting that feeling of, well, I feel down and now, I have depression and this is what depression's like and I'm just having a bad bout of depression right now. I don't make that tone to intimidate or to make fun of or to try to do an impersonation of somebody. It's just, that's when I did it, that's what it was like. It was, you just feel like, man, I can't win for losing. Now this keeps happening and now I have depression. So, this is just how I feel for a couple days until my meds really kick in or until I can get to the doctor and get them tweaked. Instead, I want to challenge people today. Take the time, process it all, let it all in. And guys, this is where I lose you, because you'll say I do process things. AB, you think that I'm just sitting here and that I'm just not accepting things that happen to me in life. No, I'm not saying that at all. What I want to urge you to do today is, when the next bad thing happens and your next bout of anxiety or your next bout of depression or your PTSD really flares up, sit and in that moment, process every bit of it. The situation itself, how you feel about it, what your first thought to do is. You're always going to have, okay, now I need to do this. It could be as severe as, man, this is just it. This is my tipping point, and now I always said I wouldn't, but now I'm starting to think about suicide. All the way down to, well, I have these financial issues and this bill I can't pay, and now I'm starting to get overwhelmed, and this is when my depression gets really bad. Now I need to call my mom and ask for money. Or now I need to call this person and I need to get money. I need to start selling my stuff. Instead of doing anything at all, take a couple minutes, sit down, process it all. Process your feelings, and instead of fighting them, allow them to happen. Allow yourself to feel them and understand that you, in that moment, you need to take no action. There is no action required in that moment. You should always take, at least before any major action is taken, 12 to 24 hours to really let it sink in. You have no idea the amount that you can change possibly in a reflection period of 12 to 24 hours. So while everything felt like the world was crumbling around you at 6:55 in the morning, because sometimes that's how early life is going to hit us, at 6:54 the following morning, life could have changed. Especially if you decided at 6:55 the morning that it happened that you weren't going to sit around and do this, but you were going to reflect and you were just going to start making a deliberate effort. This is where the work is going to come in now. The deliberate effort that you're not going to sit around and sulk. You're not going to sit around and woe is me. You're not going to sit around and just go, well, this is why the depression's really getting to me today, and this is why I can't either go to work or do this or do that. No problem has ever been fixed ever by sitting around and sulking. So when that time happens, the next time it happens, sit down, reflect, allow yourself to feel everything that you're gonna feel regardless. Guys, the only thing that these medications are doing is masking the overwhelming feeling of it. You're kind of getting numbed to it. Some people say it evens out a chemical imbalance. It probably does. You having a huge amount of emotions flowing through your body at all times. From seeing a bird on the side of the road, to seeing a baby in a stroller, to whatever commercial is on TV, to whatever song you listen to. At any given moment, your emotions can change 10 times. So for you to constantly try to fight those and go, well, bad things are happening, I'm feeling a certain way, I need to stop feeling that way, let me take my depression meds, or my depression meds didn't fix that. It's because you're always going to be human. The meds aren't going to fix that. Now, in severe cases, sometimes you do need to be brought back to ground zero to start there, and that's where medications can absolutely help. But I think that medications are so highly relied upon, and the reason that people don't see a real lasting change is not only do I think that a lot of people don't give things the time that they require to work, but also people aren't putting in the work to fix themselves. They think that anxiety medications and depression medications are going to fix life, and that now they're just going to be happy all the time. But anxiety, depression meds, and PTSD counseling sessions and things, that's not going to stop the bills from coming in when you lost your job. That's not going to stop your parents from passing away. That's not going to stop your dog from needing to go to the vet who you love so much, or the craziness and the hustle and bustle of having kids and trying to move and PCSing and TDYs and deployments and 24 hours on, whatever your life entails. Medications don't stop those things. It's how you choose to respond to them that's going to really make the big difference. So to recap all of this, why I even bring this up is because I get a lot of people that say, AB, do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? No, I don't have anxiety. I don't have depression. I don't have PTSD. What I have is a human body, that I'm a human being, and I'm just a normal human being, and I have life that happens, and I now take the mindset of, I am not made of glass. I'm not some fragile little being, and neither are you. You're a human being. If you look into it, the human being, the human body is made to withstand such things that you could never fathom. Look at bodybuilders, look at athletes, look at extreme motorsport people who crash to the ground after being, couple whatever feet in the air, and they come crashing to the ground with a bike on top of them or a snowmobile on top of them. Football players, 3 pushing 400 pounds, crashing into each other. And they get up and they do the next play. Now, I'm not saying that there's not, issues from that. There absolutely are, but you are not made of glass. Your physical body is not. Your emotional being is not. Okay? This is something that I had to learn the hard way. I take this approach to life now. I'm either going to get better and I'm going to accomplish these things, or I will die trying. That means that I am so confident in myself and in the strength that I have inside of myself that I'm either going to, when an anxiety attack happens, I'm going to allow it. I'm going to allow myself to feel it. I'm not going to be afraid of it. I'm not going to try to fight it off. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to allow it to happen and recognize that it's there. And every time that I started doing that, it fades so much quicker. And then when the next one comes in, I know now that I beat that last one. And then every single time after that, guys, I suffered from anxiety from the time I was like 14 years old until I was 24 years old. I'm 25 now. I started doing things like drinking more water, physical activity. I cut out alcohol, I cut out tobacco. Those things absolutely help, but I don't take medications. I just don't take no for an answer either. So when bouts happen, I face them, I confront them, and then I move on. And that's a huge part of it, guys. I move on. That's the thing, is it's not something that, well, I had an anxiety attack at 6 o'clock in the morning, so now the whole day is gone. No. I realize that that's my life. That's something that I have in it, and I have to face it and then move on. So guys, I just wanted to kind of touch base with you on that. I get all these questions, I get all these things, and I just really felt compelled today, especially after interviewing with the author of this book that he's writing, and it's kind of based along the topic. I felt very, very compelled to share it with you. That's why I wanted to make this video, because, and you'll see a lot of it when that book comes out. You'll see a lot of that, I hope. And I really, guys, the whole purpose of it right here, to motivate and inspire. I hope that you guys take something from my story and go, I'm stronger than him. Because guess what? You are. A lot of you are. You guys can look whatever it is in the face. You just have to believe in yourselves, guys. Believe in yourself. Know that when life happens to you, you are not guaranteed to break into a million pieces and die on spot. You are not dead on arrival in life. There is so much you guys can face that we don't as human beings, because we don't like to feel uncomfortable. I challenge you, allow yourself to feel uncomfortable. Processing all those emotions and stuff is going to be uncomfortable, but on the other side of that is success in the realm of every time gets a little easier. Just like anything else. Every day of running, you get a little more air in your lungs. Every day of working out, you get a little stronger. Guys, mental challenges are no different. Guys, get out there and be something made of stone and realize that you are not made of glass. And guys, you have me here all the time. If you guys ever need me, I'm here. I have a few different ways that I really try to hone in on retraining your brain and things that worked for me. Now, yes, I'm not a licensed anything. I'm not a licensed therapist, psychologist, psychiatrist, any of that stuff. I'm none of it. I'm just a guy who's gone through probably more in my 25 years than some people have gone through in 60. I've lived, I have experience. I don't have PhDs or associate's degrees or bachelor's. I don't even have a high school diploma. I have a GED and a lot of experience. And some people are like, what qualifies you? Look at me today. I'm somebody that's standing here in the bout of what everyone would call PTSD, anxiety, depression, alcoholism, anything you can think of, loss of children, everything, guys. I faced it. And I'm still standing here today, and I still have promise and hope for tomorrow. That's my resume. Those are my credentials. If you guys need more than that, then the fact that I've let life happen, and life has knocked me down, and life has tried to tear me up at every turn possible, and I'm still standing here going, okay, what now? Because I'm going to continue to keep getting better. You're going to keep happening. Life's going to keep happening to me. That's okay. I embrace that. Because at the end of every struggle that I face, I'm always stronger. So then the next time something else happens, it's a little easier, and now what used to be a mountain to me is not even a molehill. It's just, okay, I got to do this, and then I've got to stop here, and then I can keep going. I've got to handle this, and then I'll go. But it's because I was willing to be uncomfortable. And it's because I wanted to be better to the point where it was either I'm going to get better or I'm going to die. Guys, I love you all so very much, and I can't wait to talk to you later.